Hey guys, my name is Christian. I'm a pre-PA student who will be starting PA school in May. Today on the pre-PA guide, we're going to talk about paid pre-PA resources. Things like essay revisions, paid shadowing, etc. We're going to talk about, is it worth it to use these paid resources? Does it really give you an advantage over some alternate methods? What could you do that will better increase your chances of getting into PA school than spending thousands of dollars on paid PA resources? The credentials of these people and why it's not always the best. And if you're going to use these resources to really look at the credentials, we're going to talk about what to look for in regards of that, how to find a good paid pre-PA resources if you choose to go that route. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get to it. So I want to start this video out by saying that a lot of this information that I'm going to be talking to you about is from the PALife.com. It's a great resource. It's kind of like blog style posts, and they have a lot of information on applying to PA school, the life of a PA, and so on. So I'm going to link that article in the description because, again, I got a lot of the information from here on this site. I was also kind of inspired to do this by Harrison Reed PA on Instagram. He is involved in admissions, so I have some kind of inspirations. I don't want to say information from him because I don't want to misquote, but a lot of the inspiration was from that, so I kind of have the perspective of somebody in admissions because he inspired what I kind of am going to talk about here. So first of all, paid pre-PA resources. This involves paid shadowing. This involves essay revisions, mock interviews. Some people do one-on-one coaching. Now, first of all, I personally believe there's much better alternatives to this, especially if you are currently in school. This is huge. If you are currently in school, make sure you use your resources because I'm sure your school offers them. For my school had a pre-PA program. So they had a lot of resources for pre-PA students. They had a pre-PA club, which is awesome, and I think some schools might have that. If not, they will have like a pre-med or biology and chemistry club, and some of them will actually do mock interviews. So see if your school offers that. My school offered mock interviews for pre-PA students, and while I didn't participate in it, I participated in other free mock interviews that were available. A lot of them were available virtually. A lot of actually organizations online on like Instagram are doing this. I can't name any on the top of my head, but they're doing virtual mock interviews, which is awesome. So my school offered a mock interview. My school has a writing center where I took my essays. Some people have personal statements. I took them for revisions, and they did all that. I had a PA online doing my revisions. That was Rodalyn at MedAssembly on Instagram. She's awesome. I'm not saying that she'll review your essay, but she reviewed mine. So there is PAs out there who will do that. Please don't go to her and say, review my essay because Christian had his essay reviewed. So yeah, that's kind of what it encompasses, and these can go upwards of a couple $1,000s to less than $100. So there's a very wide range, and there's also a very wide range in the expertise. From what I have heard, and it seems like the general consensus is that there is a lack of credentialing amongst these people. So while they might be practicing PAs, some of them are even PA students. Regardless, they have little to no experience in admissions. Again, I'm not saying this is all of them, but the majority of them, from what the general consensus is that they do not have the credentials to be giving you expert advice, and quite honestly, they're charging the price of what you would expect to get with an expert, and you're getting kind of not expertise advice. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you are going to do one of these resources, again, if you watch the whole video and you decide, I still think they're beneficial, and you're going to do it, definitely look at their credentials and get somebody who is involved in admissions, if at all possible. So let's talk about what you can do with your money, again limited as a student, instead of taking on and buying and paying for pre-PA resources. What else can you do to make yourself a better applicant and increase your chances of getting into PA school? And it turns out there's actually a lot when you're willing to spend a few thousands of dollars. Even with a couple hundred, there's a lot of ways that you could improve your application. So we're going to get into that. So yes, number one, get more patient care. Focus on that. That's a good way to improve your application. Free. Like I said, use your school resources. They're all completely free to improve your actual application. Reach out to PAs on Instagram or PAs that you're shadowing for them to review your application to improve it that way instead of paying for the resources, because you're getting the same kind of expertise from these pre-PA paid resources with a PA you're shadowing, because neither of them are involved in admissions most of the time. And although the person you're paying has the ability to dedicate more time because they're actually taking this on as a part-time job, and they have more experience in the sense that they have done this before, so that is a benefit. But is the difference really that significant that you'd be willing to pay an extra $1,000 or $600? So that's something to definitely consider. I would say that it would just be much better to go to a shadowing PA that you're shadowing, or just a PA on Instagram. But again, if you do pay, you're going to be able to dedicate more time and have a little bit more knowledge in regards to that. Again, there could be somebody who does it for free who does a lot more than the people you're paying as well. So you're kind of taking a gamble there, because again, you don't know their exact credentials. Anyway, you could retake classes. Now we're going to get into the paid stuff that you could do instead of paying for pre-PA resources. Stuff that you could do with your money that's not paying someone else. So you could retake courses. You can retake courses at a community college. Just make sure that they transfer over as the class that you are taking them for in your PA program. Community college courses are very cheap, and you could definitely take a few courses for $600 or $1,000. Apply to more schools. So this is the biggest one. So here, if you have an average applicant, so an average applicant, like we said, has about 2,500 hours of patient care experience, and a GRE score of 300. I'm not sure about the PACAT score because it's fairly new. An overall GPA of 3.6 and an overall science GPA of 3.5. So this is the average applicant who was accepted the first time into PA school. Now, when you apply to one school as an average applicant, which is what we talked about, you have a 25% chance of getting accepted into PA school. When you apply to 12 programs or more, you have a 49% chance of getting into PA school, being accepted. So that's almost a 50% chance. When the average number of people who apply to PA school, the average number they apply to is 8 schools. Research, or not really research, but looking at the numbers, the average where there's no extra advantage to applying to PA schools is 12. So I would not apply to more than 12 schools. Now, when you apply through CASPA, they charge $179 for the first school you apply to, and $55 for every additional school you apply to. So if you apply to the full 12 schools, that's $839 versus only applying to one school would be $179. But again, there's a difference between 25% and essentially 50%. So you're going up you're doubling your chances of getting in when you apply to 12 schools. So I would shoot to apply between 8 and 12. Again, it's only an extra $55 for each school you apply to, which is nothing when you're considering that paid PA resources are hundreds to thousands of dollars. So that's pretty much all you could do. Not all you could do, but the main ones you could do with your money besides using paid PA resources. Next, I want to talk about the implications and the kind of damages that paid PA resources could potentially have. First of all, let's talk about some sort of free ways to increase your chances of an applicant rather than go to the paid route. So one is to get patient care. This could involve some kind of expense in some way, I don't know, applying for a job or whatever, getting your credentials up, like paying for something. A great way to do this is to, there's a dust particle right in front of the camera, there we go. A great way to do this is to just apply to jobs, find a patient care job and improve your patient care hours. The average applicant has around 2,000 hours of patient care experience. Let me see what it says on. Again, I'm referencing pre-PA, thepalife.com. It looks like the average person had 2 years of clinical experience. I don't think it really says how many. Generally, I think it's about 2,500. This says at least 2,000. The average accepted student had 2,424 hours of healthcare experience, 4,631 of direct patient care experience that is paid. So this is working as an RN, as a CNA, so on, as a PT, as a physical therapist assistant. Some places may consider a PT aide as non-direct patient care, but some consider direct patient care. So while we're talking about patient care experience, I know a lot of you struggle with this, and it's hard to find a job that doesn't require a certificate. And it's also kind of hard to try to get these certificates, and it's very expensive when you do it in person. So I would like to take a minute to have a message from our sponsor, which is a great way to gain patient care experience for a PA school. We're going to take a minute to have a word from our sponsor, Advanced eClinical Training. Since we were talking about gaining patient care experience, and I talked about it in the past, I know it's a big issue for a lot of people, especially with the pandemic going on. So I wanted to talk about Advanced eClinical Training Certified Clinical Medical Assistant Program. So if you're not familiar with what a certified medical assistant does, they're involved in many specialties in the medical field, primarily physician offices, where they help out in small procedures like blood draws, different small kind of surgical operations, different things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity available to work as a medical assistant, and Advanced eClinical Training has one of the best programs that I have seen. It is completely online. It's an 8-week program, but it is self-paced. There's no deadlines for anything, so it's not like regular college, and there's nothing in person. Even when you finish after the 8 weeks, you take a national certification exam that is online, and then you could work as a medical assistant within as fast as 8 weeks. Adding an additional kind of layer to the wall that you need to get across to get into PA school just builds the wall higher, that people have to cough up more money to get into PA school, because if everybody's using these paid PA resources, then it becomes much harder to get into PA school without using the paid PA resources. That is assuming that they are effective. Again, it might not be the case. It could be the case that everybody's using these paid PA resources, they're not actually helping. But if everybody thinks they help, they feel limited, and they feel like if I don't pay for this resource, I don't have a chance of getting into PA school because everybody's doing it. That's an issue. So it creates this kind of gap between people who have money, who could afford these paid PA resources, versus the people who can't. And again, it creates a gap for people who could afford to retake the GRE multiple times, and people who could retake courses, people who could apply to more schools. So there's always going to be this kind of gap, but the point is to try to minimize this gap by minimizing the amount of monetary expenses to be accepted and begin in PA school. Additionally, it creates an incentive for people to charge for PA resources. Because if you're someone who is very helpful to PA students, and you're offering everything, and you're a busy PA, and you're offering all this stuff to people, and then there is someone who is doing the exact same stuff that you're doing, but is made it into a part-time job, and they're making thousands and thousands of dollars a month off of pre-PA students, and you're sitting there doing the same stuff, making nothing off of it. You're naturally going to envy that person and want to get involved in that, clearly. You're going to also want to charge pre-PA students, and that's when it starts, is PAs who want to help people and are good-hearted. I'm not saying people who are charge paid PA resources are not good-hearted, but I'm saying people who do it just out of the goodness of their heart, help pre-PA students for free. They're kind of incentivized to stop doing that and charge. The biggest thing is shadowing. So people who allow students to shadow, again, some people have the heart of a teacher. They do it because they want to. Other people do it because they see it as a side income. And that's another thing. Students are having a very hard time finding shadowing. So it'd be very easy to make money and monetize off of that. And when other PAs are doing that, people say, oh, I want to monetize that too, and they're going to charge as well. So there becomes less and less opportunity, and there becomes more and more demand for these opportunities, which farther drives that gap. It's only going to continue on. So that is why I don't think these resources are effective, and I also don't think that they're beneficial to the overall diversity and inclusivity of the PA profession and PA programs. I hope this was insightful for you guys. This is something that I really do feel strongly about, and why this video is probably going to be kind of long, because I did have a lot to say in this video. And again, I don't want you guys to feel that you need to spend money or just go ahead and spend money without researching these programs and seeing what their credentials are, and especially not before looking at what opportunities are available for free or alternatives that are available to improve your chances and ultimately get you into PA school. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.